going to go into today. And let us go along. So where are we starting from? Just 1 minute. So I think I'm starting with the WHO coronavirus disease, the dashboard. So the dashboard, as at this morning, at 5:33 p.m., I mean, this morning from where I am here, so we can see the figures here. We can see new cases, we can see confirmed cases, and we can see the number of deaths. So if we look at where we are, where I am here, and where you are in Nigeria, we can see the rates, the figures of what is happening. But what we're trying to do as scientists now is to reduce the rate of death, to reduce the rate of confirmed cases, at the same time, to reduce the rate of new cases. So if we have a vaccine in place, then we'll be able to achieve this target. So I'm bringing this figure out today for all of us to see exactly what is happening in the world. If you're not out of your room, you might not know. If you're not listening to the news, you might not know. If you don't see figures, you don't know what is happening. And if you don't know anybody that has died due to COVID-19, then you will not be able to think logically, clinically, that this needs a solution, a combined solution between volunteers, between organizations, between religious groups, between our heads, our leaders as well. So this COVID-19 vaccine is something that we together has to look into, work toward it, and support how to amend whatever needs to be done for people to be able to be saved. So I'm going to play a video now. And this video is going to give us an informed decision about what vaccines are. Why do we take vaccine? How do we take vaccine? What it is and stuff. It's just a couple of minutes video. So let's just watch. Can you see the video, everyone?
Yes, you can see it. Yes, yes, you can see it. Yeah.
Can you?
Yes, you can see the video.
Are you able to see the video?
Yes, but it's not audible.
Yes. So, I mean, with this short clip, so we can see what the WHO, what the general public, what the Health Institute, what Pfizer, other companies, everyone, why are we after vaccines? So with that short video, it has explained to us the process of vaccines. It has explained to us the way it is, why we are doing this. So some of the questions, today we're going to have more or less questions rather than going more into too much talk. There's so many news on the internet, there's so many clips, there's so many lots of stories and things that are out there, which is fine. That's the only way we can have an informed decision and people can have more information to COVID vaccine. So so the vaccine that has been developed quickly, is it safe? So most of the things that we've heard from people is that it has just been a number of months that this has happened. Why is the vaccine coming so quick? One thing we should realize is the fact that at this moment, this day, COVID-19 has killed billions of people. People have been infected, a lot of issues have happened. And there's technology has evolved in so many ways. And there's been collaboration of scientists, clinicians all over the world. So this is why this is as fast as it should be. And like all other vaccines, the effect of COVID vaccines are tested first in the laboratory, including animals and then human volunteers. And if we look as pharmacists, I know most of us will have done a lot of research before coming here today. We can see the document provided by Pfizer and the document provided by AstraZeneca and Moderna on the tested, the trials, the result of the trials for these vaccines. So those are the basic things that we need to know at the moment. So, at the moment, we are aware that the 3 vaccines set for use in the UK are the Pfizer one, the AstraZeneca one that has just been approved. Then the Moderna one is the one that has been approved in the US. At the moment, I'll base most of my talk on the Pfizer one because that is the one that is much more local and the one that has been rolled out here in the UK. But the basic of my talk is not about either it's AstraZeneca, Pfizer or Moderna. No, the basic of my talk is about the vaccine itself. Although we will go into the pro and cons as pharmacists of each vaccine so that we can tailor each vaccine to individual group, either patient, nation, or geographical areas. We're going into temperature, storage, condition. We will talk about patient orientation states, maybe people that are pregnant, elderly patients, children, which one can they have? Then we go again into storage condition, as I said earlier on, because the storage condition of each one of them is different, which can make us think about which one is adapted to a temperate region or a tropical region. So those are the things we're going to look into today. So the 3 vaccines, what are these 3 vaccines? And we know most of the 3 vaccines, but I'll just repeat this. The University of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, they announced its phase 3 result on the 23rd of November, and it was approved by the Medicine and Health Regulatory Agency, MHRA, on the 30th of December, 2020, and it's administered to the patient in the UK January 4, with 82-year-old Brian becoming the first patient to receive it. So this has started, we started rolling this out here in UK, and the Pfizer one, we started a couple of weeks back, was the first to be approved by the UK, which is currently being rolled out in the UK. And the Moderna jab, which has been approved for use in the US, has yet to be approved by the UK. So we can see what is happening here around us. If we look into the data from Nigeria at the moment, the new cases, the death rates, the infected rate, we cannot actually compare that to what we have down here or what we have in the United States or what we have in somewhere like Argentina as well. But at the same time, we have to be prepared. As scientists, as educationists, as students of knowledge, we have to be prepared because of our patient, our community, and our people. And that is why we are having this talk today, to get our healthcare professional in that particular area, especially pharmacists, because we're going to be in charge of the drug. How do we get ourselves prepared? What do we need to put in place for this to be? What are the things that we have to look after? We have to look out for where we want to roll out our own vaccine. Do we want to copy the strategic way the UK is doing theirs, or we have any other plan and things in mind? Or even if we have something in place on how we're going to roll it out within ourselves in Nigeria or wherever we are as pharmacists. There are things that we call what good looks like, good manufacturing practice. So all of those things we have to look into as we're looking towards rolling out this within our cities or our nations. Even if we don't have high death rate or high infection rate, or if we're even thinking that in case any of these things, there's increased rate of infection, how do we apply the vaccines within our own territory? So those are the things that we are going to be talking about. So comparing the three vaccines, how did they compare? Most of us will have seen this. We know that the Oxford and AstraZeneca is a viral vector one, and the temperature, regular fridge temperature is good for that one. And the Moderna one is -20 degrees up to about 6 months, and it's 95% effective as compared to the Oxford AstraZeneca, which is 62 to 90%. So the Pfizer one that we're using in the UK at the moment is 95% effective, though it is -70 degrees for the storage condition in here. So for people that are in temperate region, storage might be an issue, but when we have an info and we know exactly how the condition that this vaccine needs to be stored, as pharmacists, we have to make accurate decision on what to do. Which one do we have to order? Which one do we have to keep in stock? Then looking at the effect on our patient as well. So we have to look into the data that are being recorded every day, day to day, people that have minimal side effects, the effect that is happening, and we have to tailor it individually and quietly, generally to the people that we are treating. At the moment, people that have eye allergy are advised not to take this vaccine at the moment. Pregnant women and people that are thinking of getting pregnant are advised not to take the vaccines at the moment. And people that have a lot of comorbidities that immunocompromised patients are advised to speak to their GP. So at the moment, to take the vaccine, you have to speak to your healthcare provider, your GP, or wherever you are, maybe a pharmacist or the consultant. They have to go through your clinical state. They have to look into your medical record and see if you have any allergy reaction to any of the ingredients in any of the vaccines. As we know, as pharmacists, we look into all those things before we screen our prescriptions as well. So those are the basic things that we need to know as pharmacists. And so many questions have been coming out regarding RNA. So what is RNA and how could this type of vaccine affect people's genetic code? So this has been one of the most commonly asked questions over the last couple of weeks in most of the lectures that we've been having. So the RNA is the nucleic acid that converts the DNA into proteins. As we said, we know pharmacists, we know the way vaccine works, we know the way the RNA works. So it carries the genetic information of COVID-19 virus. So the messenger RNA vaccine have become a possibility over the past few years, and unlike conventional vaccines that we have, so which are produced using weakened forms of the virus. So the introduction of an mRNA sequence into the body, it contains the genetic instruction for the person's own cell to now produce vaccines antigens. And those vaccine antigens will now generate the immune response to coronavirus. So this is the way it works. So it is not affecting DNA, not changing people's genetic code. It is generating an immune response into the virus itself. So if for people that have questions regarding this change of DNA and the patient, we should be able to explain to them as clinicians and break it down into pieces the way a messenger RNA works. So how does vaccine work? When we look at vaccine generally, how does it work? We know most standard vaccines work by injecting a dead or weakened form of the pathogen into the body, which then builds immunity to it. You know, some of the flu vaccine, measles, smallpox. As a child at home, I know my mommy I wouldn't have even asked. They just tell her, your child needs to have vaccination, and I mean, as a then it is an informed that we trusted the authority that they're going to make a decision that is good for us. So now we are at the same shoe as clinicians today. We have to really investigate, be sure of what contains, be sure of the side effect, be sure of which patient can have this, which patient cannot have that. So most standard vaccines have the same principle that we have used, Pfizer has used for COVID-19, the same principle that's being used, except that the kind of DNA, the kind of vaccines they have used this time is a bit different. So the RNA vaccines are known to have higher potency than standard vaccines, and they can be developed more rapidly at a lowest cost and are safer to administer. And when I was showing the comparison between the vaccine the other time, I didn't mention the prices, but we can always go back to that. As pharmacy, we know we normally compare prices, but at the same time, we have to look into the patient and the geographical area. Some of the vaccine required very, very high storage. We know that storage condition that it has to be highly stored, otherwise we lose the potency of that vaccine. And this is one thing that as pharmacists and leaders of pharmacy professions, we have to look into that when we are thinking in Nigeria of keeping this in stock or rolling it out to the majority of our patients. So I'm going into frequent, I know they said 45 minutes, frequently asked questions. One frequently asked question, now that we have the vaccine, can we now go to normal? No. So we have to continue to, because everything is still in developmental stages, and we're still collecting, the data is still being collected with the vaccine at the moment. And you know that AstraZeneca has just been approved itself. So we have to continue to wear our masks, maintain distance, maintain the hygiene that we normally do, listen to our national healthcare providers' instructions as we go along. COVID-19 is still out there. People are still getting infected. People are still dying. And in some cities, in some places, the infection rate continue to get higher. And as this morning, we are on another lockdown. So if in wherever area that you are, you might not be feeling what we are feeling here, but to prevent ourselves and prevent every other person, we have to let people know this. So we have to continue to follow all instructions, either we're traveling out or traveling in, or we are going about in our daily condition, wherever we are in Nigeria. It's very, very important to continue to maintain the distance, wear your masks, clean your hands when you touch people, because we don't know, people are still traveling in and out from everywhere, in and out of every country. Another question that we normally see with people is who will get the vaccine, the process of getting the vaccine. So now, this is different from institute to institute. It's different from us in Nigeria, and it's different from wherever you are. Here, at the moment, it's being rolled out sequentially, and people are being called to come and take the vaccine from their vulnerability. So started from our elderly patients in care homes, then healthcare workers, and people that are vulnerable. So this is how it goes. So what we are doing, what you will be doing might be different depending on the way your organization is set up and depending on the way the infection rate is. So this will determine who will get the vaccine within, your periphery in Nigeria and the process in place. So this is the management decision, and which has to do with the people. Maybe you wanted to start with people that have comorbidities or people that are, the elderly patient, and you can follow the UK system of operation here. So those are the things that we have to look into in that area. So if we look into another question is the vaccine safe? What is mRNA, and what does vaccines, what does the vaccine after your after your DNA, is the vaccine after your DNA? So I've explained that to you, the way it works. It's not after your DNA, it's just it produces immunity for you to be able to, so that when the virus comes to you, that will take that away. So safety and efficacy of the vaccine. And the COVID infection has affected tens of millions in worldwide pandemic. Safe and effective vaccines are therefore very, very needed. So the primary endpoints were efficacy against lab-confirmed COVID-19 and safety, and the trials were conducted on 43,448 random subjects. So that is, and its efficacy profile was characterized as short-term, mid to moderate pain at injection site. Then serious adverse incidents were low in both the real and the placebo groups. Then the vaccine conferred 95% protective against COVID-19 in those 16 years or older. So then another thing that we have to look into is the major secondary endpoint included the efficacy against severe COVID-19. The FDA confirmed it to be clinical signs at the rest and are indicative of severe systematic illness are respiratory failure, evidence of shock, significant acute renal, hepatic, and neurological dysfunction, admission to an ICU or death. So the trials themselves were conducted over 152 sites worldwide, the US, Argentina, Brazil, and Turkey. The trials do not address the prevention of COVID-19 in other demographics, such as young adolescents, children, and pregnant women. So when we are making your decision, we have to look into who does the trial addresses. It doesn't address the young adolescent, children, and pregnant women. And the safety and immune response data of 12 to 15-year-olds we gather in the future. So for those age group of 12 to 15-year-olds, we don't have, there's no data for them at the moment. So these are the things as clinicians that we have to look into while deciding either to give or not to stop or to start giving COVID-19. So we can't just say, no, we don't want it. We have to look at pros and cons because people continue to move from one city to the other. People are coming into Nigeria from everywhere and they're going out. So probability of infection is coming. So how do we prepare our people for that? So that's why we're making this talk today. So the result of trials demonstrate that COVID-19 can be prevented by immunization, providing that RNA-based vaccines are promising for protecting humans from infection diseases. The RNA-based vaccines only require viral genetic sequence into initiating developing the immune system itself. So this vaccine only took 11 months to develop due to this approach, because we just need to get something in place. And when they're, so it's just like a friend of mine explained this yesterday in a video. He said, as sometimes people will have appendicitis and someone will want to have a knee operation. If you want to have a knee operation, they'll book you to see your surgeon, maybe 8 weeks. You come in first to do your blood test, you come again. But if you have a ruptured appendicitis, it's an emergency surgery. So at the point of COVID-19 vaccine, we're in a state of emergency. So this is one of the things that we have to look into as clinicians when we're making our decisions. How an RNA vaccine works. So this, most of the questions is just about this DNA stuff. So how does this work? So what we have put in place now is, you can see the picture in here, that the scientists take part of the virus genetic code and turn it into a vaccine that's injected into the patient. So after injecting into the patient, this is what happens next. The vaccines enter the cells and tell them to produce the coronavirus spike protein. You can see the spike in here. Pharmacists, we know this from school and with recent development. So the body immune system reacts, producing the antibodies and activate the T cells to destroy cells with the spike protein. So this is the antibodies, and you can see the T cells there. And you can see if the patient later catches coronavirus, the antibodies that have already been developed in the system now trigger to fight the virus. So this is just a simple three-way to explain how the RNA vaccine works. So rather than people having the impression that it's changing your DNA and things, this is just the basic way that it works. And for our scientists, we can see the straightforward three-way rule, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So let us carry on. So in conclusion, the vaccines can contribute together with other public health measures to reduce the devastating loss of life, economic and social well-being caused by the spread of COVID-19. So how does vaccine work and why get the vaccine? So that question has been answered. So we have seen how it works. We can see why we need the vaccine. Because we need to reduce the death rate. People can have their life back. The economic situation is still bad, and we need to get vaccine. So, I mean, these are a couple of references that I can send back to us, and we can always listen. We can go and look more and read more just to support us as healthcare professionals, so that we can make our decisions when we decide to roll out this in Nigeria. And some of us are invited to the board on the strategic meeting on what to do. So this is the basic information that we need to know as clinician. Another 2 minutes, I wanted to share an organization setup on how do we want to, 1 minute. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'll see if I can try. How we can set our system up, our staff, the workforce, the patients, the community. How do we speak to them? How do we educate them? How do we explain to them what the vaccine is all about? Then how the vaccine is. We don't want people to just make things up, because that's why we are here as clinicians and pharmacists and our doctors. So I have a document here, but I mean, I'm finding it difficult to share it. But this document, I'll send it to Mr. Bello as well, which will enable us to make that decision on who is doing what, how do we set this up, how do we do a campaign to speak to people and educate them about the vaccine itself. So I hope this is a short presentation. They said 45 minutes. So I'm going to stop here. So if there's question, the question and answer, we elicit some other talks, which I may be able to share with every one of us. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope we've been able to get 1 or 2 things from this to add to our own normal knowledge. I know we've all researched before coming here today, and I hope this is being able to add to our normal knowledge. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. It was very concise, but very educative. I'm so grateful for the privilege of having you today. Ma, I don't know if you have pictures of the vaccines, the 4 different types of vaccines. Do you by any chance have their pictures?
Did I not share them? Okay, let's look for them. You mean the bottles?
Yes, the bottles.
I took them off because I'm trying to work with them times when. If you can collate the question, I'll have that's the slide where the pictures is, and I will send it now.
Okay. Okay, while you're doing that, Ma, and while people are collating their questions, I'd like to recognize the presence of our PSN State Chairman, in person of pharmacist Adejumo Otelaja, all the way from Canada. It's good to have you here. Thank you very much for being on board. We'd also like to recognize the presence of the HOD of the Pharmacy Department of National Orthopedic Hospital, Yaba, Pharmacist Margaret Obono. Thank you very much for being on board. And would also like to appreciate the presence of the ACPN chairman for Rivers State, Pharmacist Agboma. Good to have you here. Also, Pharmacist Motiat, the Clinical Pharmacists Association. She's the secretary for CPAN. It's good to have you here. There are so many people here today. It's a large house today. We'll not be able to, mention the names of everyone, but just a few. We'd also like to recognize the presence of the ALPS National Chairman. That's the Association of Lady Pharmacists. She's the national chairman. Pharmacist Victoria Uku. It's good to have you here. Also, Dr. Felicia Williams of University of Ilorin, Dr. Esti Abdullahi. We're so happy to have you on board. Please kindly send your emails to the WhatsApp number that has been posted in the chat box, because we may not be able to retrieve all the emails that have been sent to the chat box. So the number, I'll send the number once again now. Please send your email addresses to that WhatsApp number so that we can collate all the emails and send the slides to us there. Yes. Okay. So I've done that now. We have a question from Pharmacist Gregory. Pharmacist Gregory, I don't know if I can go on with that, Ma.
Yes, go on. I'll collect that together. I'll answer everything together. Thank you.
Okay. So he says, why was the COVID-19 vaccine formulated into a vaccine and not into other dosage forms like the tablets, capsules, or injectables?
Due to the nature of coronavirus, virus itself is the virus itself. So just like we have flu in the 18s, so it's not the so the process of that we've used for flu is the same process that we use for the coronavirus vaccine, because it's a virus. So it's not a bacteria that we have to make its dosage into tablets or any. And at the moment, because the clinical data is still going on, so maybe in future, depending on the way it's being rolled out and the report and data come in being, then we can have some tablets in place, to manage the disease state. So at the moment, we just need to roll out vaccines to be able to protect and build the immune system first, rather than treating the disease state with tablet or liquid formulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Pharmacist Bambe Olubumi. Please, can you post your question again? Okay, she says, apart from the COVID-19 vaccine, what other types of mRNA vaccine have been previously used? Did you get that, Ma?
Yeah, at the moment, this is the only one that has been used at the moment. We haven't, we don't have any, at the moment, the one that has been approved now is just this one. So we don't have anyone being approved at the moment. And we can always only talk about the one that have been approved, that have data and evidence from the manufacturers. So we can't talk about any other one yet, except the one that we have efficacy and we have results, we have clinical trials with.
And there's not been any other type of mRNA prior to COVID that has been used?
There hasn't been.
Okay. She's saying that
I don't have any data that I have any of that. No.
Okay.
No.
Please, can you stop sharing your slide, the pharmacist Kamadin? Can you stop sharing your slide? Pharmacist, come on. Can you stop sharing your slide?
Okay.
Stop sharing your slide so I can see the view.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from pharmacist Precious Ikenna. She's saying, is this vaccine inactivated vaccine or live attenuated vaccine? And how safe is it for the immunocompromised? Is it inactivated vaccine or live attenuated vaccine? And is this safe for the immunocompromised?
This is not so it's not a live vaccine, and it's we will not say it's safe for immunocompromised at the moment until we're able to look into the patient themselves and look into what what is their medical condition and what they're using at the moment. So when we're looking at immunocompromised people, who are this? What kind of disease state are they at the moment? So, I mean, all of these are, we need to look into them before we give the COVID-19. So we don't just say all the immunocompromised people, no. So that is why in the UK at the moment, it's been sectional. People are being invited based on their vulnerability in different conditions. So people from age group, from disease state, from comorbidities, so from stages to stages to stages. So that is what is being used in UK at the moment.
Okay,
because of the nature of vaccine. Yes?
Ma'am, please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, because of nature of vaccines, generally, especially when it's being rolled out like this at the initial stage, that data are still being gathered. So, and everything changes day by day, from information, from development, from storage, from people's side effects. So things are still being changed every day. And this is why it's important to get up to date with what has been changing. And when you give the vaccines, you have to report, you have to take data, you have to take people's name, people information, so that if there's any issue, you'll be able to go back, and that will give an informed decision on what to do next.
There's another question as to the dosage. What's the dosage for the vaccine?
The dosage for the vaccine. I mean, it's 20 at the moment. Yes, what is happening now is normally it's 2 doses at the moment. So you take the first dose, then within the 21 and 28 days, you take another dose. But I mean, it's the recommendation has changes over the last couple of days due to the Department of Health is thinking of rolling out the fourth phase first. So the second phase is being delayed for another 4 to 12 weeks. So, I mean, those are the things that is happening here at the moment. So we don't know the data, the way and the full, what is going to happen with the AstraZeneca at the moment. I don't have more information on that. But the Pfizer one at the moment is just the first 2 doses, the first one, and after 21, 28 days. But those people with 21, 28 days now might be able to have them 4 weeks or 12 weeks, in the next 4 to 12 weeks. But as I said, data are still being gathered. This is just an informed talk, just to introduce us to what the vaccine is itself and what is happening around us. And if we are thinking Nigeria or going ahead to have the vaccine.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am. So okay. Another question, ma'am. Do we have a publicly accessible data apart from the one released by the manufacturer on the efficacy of the mRNA vaccine?
Not that I'm aware of, apart from the one released by Pfizer now.
Okay. Then also, can a patient who had earlier been treated for COVID-19 take the vaccine?
Yeah, definitely, because the people, I definitely, yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So how long does the immunity last?
The question is a bit, When we say treatment for COVID, we know that there's no treatment. You know, people, we just treat symptoms. So what we're saying is, yeah. So we just want the vaccine just produce an immune response to the virus itself, and that's what the vaccine does, really.
Okay. So how long will the immunity acquired from the vaccine last?
At the moment, there's no a full evidence data that I can share with you at the moment. But I mean, there's work on that at the moment with the data being collected.
Okay.
So as pharmacists, we know that sometimes maybe vaccines, immunity can last for a year. Flu vaccine, we take that every year. Some of us are going Umrah, some vaccines are just every 3 years. And some vaccine, you know, the shingles and someone is, lifetime vaccine. But at the moment, we don't have data for that at the moment.
So there's no, you just take the vaccine as it is now. People are just taking the vaccine in the UK.
No, it's producing, people are taking the vaccine because it produces an immune response to the virus when it attacks.
Okay.
So it's like when, how do I put that in a lay time? You say you have to be taking vitamin C to prevent, to build your immunity. So you can't take a whole box of oranges. You can't take a whole vegetables. But we know that there's evidence that with taking vegetables, fruits, develop your immunity. So that is the same principle.
Okay, ma. Okay. So how many shots does one need to get to attain herd immunity, and what duration apart?
21 days interval at the moment. So between when you take the first shot, so the next one will be between 21 and 28 days. But I mean, with evidence now, scientists are saying that they can extend that to within 4 to 12 weeks, the second dose. So if you take the first dose, you can take the second dose within 4 weeks to 12 weeks.
12 weeks, okay. Is there any research into solving the storage conditions for the effectiveness of the vaccines so that it can be useful in temperate regions?
Is there any
ongoing research into the storage conditions so that we can use it in the temperate regions?
No, at the moment, the AstraZeneca it can be stored within the normal temperature in the fridge and house temperature, but the Pfizer one is minus 70 degrees centigrade. So which is one of the things you have to look into before you get it in. So data, vaccine is continuing being produced, everything is still being done. So as more come into being, we continue to look into it and share the information. But the two information that is static at the standard at the moment is just the two ones. The one for Pfizer and the one for AstraZeneca.
Okay, but the difference in price is so high.
Yeah.
Wow. Why is that?
I don't know. We have to ask AstraZeneca, we have to ask Pfizer. I am a clinician, I'm not a So I'm just looking into the clinical aspect and the patient orientation aspect. When it comes to money, so it has to do with the way they have done it, or the way they are doing it, or maybe I've been affected by the storage condition. That's why the price is different. I wouldn't be able to answer that. They might have to take that to Pfizer and AstraZeneca.
All right, ma'am. Okay, there's another question, ma. Pharmacist Victor Okukwala says a video in social media showed the Black American nurse who took the very dose of Pfizer vaccine and slumped supposedly shortly after the jab. The person is asking if this is true.
I don't know. So I don't know. I would say because this is a clinic meeting, we're pharmacists. So, just with the thought of the way that has happened, we will be looking into the term anaphylaxis, isn't it? So even when normal flu jab or normal people have anaphylaxis, people have side effects, people react to things. So one of the things, that's why as pharmacists, we were taught about what is called yellow book. So if people react to anything, you have to record. And even paracetamol, some people does not tolerate paracetamol, and people that have people that have kidney diseases and people that have some other disease states, there's so many people that can't take some medication because of the disease condition. If we look into the story of antibiotic penicillins, some people have serious reaction to penicillins. They can't take it. So if you're not aware and you give penicillin to that person, what will happen to them as a pharmacist? They react to it, isn't it? People that have reaction to penicillin. Why, when we're giving antibiotics, we have to speak to patient. Have you had this before? Have you ever reacted to penicillin in the past? That is why most of the time people that have already they have reaction and they can't tolerate penicillins, we give them erythromycin. So the same way vaccines work, we have to, not until we have been able to investigate people that have allergy to them or people that have previous allergy to most of their medications, we won't be able to say no until we know that this person is a known allergy sufferer. You can't have the vaccine. This person want to have pregnancy. It's not been tested on them, so we can't give it to them. There are even children of that age group, children is not been tested on them. We can't give it to them. So that is why there are clinical trials, there are processes in place, which says this medication has been tested on this particular age group. Those are the age group that can have it. This medication has been tested on these people. Those are the people that can have it. And all of these things are stated in all the vaccine and the protocols, which is why it's easier for us as scientists to look and read all those protocols before we make our own informed decision. And with knowing all those protocols, we enable us to speak to our patient when they ask the questions. Well, if we don't take time to look into it, read deep into it, then merge our own residual pharmacy knowledge of drug formulation, vaccine formulation, won't be able to really support our own patient. So this is very, very important. With this vaccine at the moment, there's a lot of but. And this is why I'm here. We have to, as pharmacists, read the buts and buts and buts. Children cannot have it. Elderly patient cannot, pregnant women, no. So all of these things are the things that we should know to be able to inform our patient. And people that want to have it, even elderly patient, they have to be screened. They have to be screened. There should be a good consultation with their clinicians. The pharmacist has to look into their medical history. Maybe they are asthmatic or they are allergy sufferer or they are taking any medication that is contraindicated with the active consequence in here. So they wouldn't be able to have it. So that is why it's good for us as clinicians to follow the process. So we don't want to take what is on the video. We don't want to take what is on the YouTube. We don't want to just take what is being said. We want to face our evidence on evidence-based practice.
Yes. Thank you, Ma. A question from pharmacist Abelagi SF. He says, do we have the details of all ingredients present in the COVID-19 vaccines? Because the Pfizer vaccines are said to contain polyethylene glycol, which means people can develop antibodies against this substance.
Yes, it contains polyethylene glycol as well, yes. And when we ask people with their allergy and side effects, we have to have it, with the protocols we are, when you clerk patient, when they come in for the vaccine, you ask them, have you ever had side effect? Have you ever had issue? Have you ever had this? So that is why when they have the first shot, there's interval before the second shot, so that you know people that have any reaction to any of the listed ingredients, if they don't know. For some people, we don't know what, personally, there's so many things, I don't know if I'm allergic to that, because in my country, where I come from, they don't do allergy testing when we're young. So people that I know, they will say, okay, for colors, I have allergy to colors. Some people say, yes, one time my doctor told me I have allergy to this. So we know that those people cannot take it. But with that, the phase of the first shot to the next one, we give room for people to know exactly if they're reacting to any of the active ingredients. Just like normal pharmacy, a doctor might not ask the patient if they have any allergy reaction to maybe amoxicillin, and they will take it, they have reaction, they come back to the pharmacist. I have rash. Not until you ask the person, what have you taken? And they tell you how. I took some amoxicillin, then it will click to you that, oh, okay, you are reacting to the penicillin in there. And that's the same way. So we shouldn't lose our pharmacy ethics, our residual knowledge when we're applying this. So we have to let people know, are you reacting to these particular things? Is there anything you've taken in the past that have affected you, even anti-tetanus? I remember when I was in Nigeria, one of our anti-tetanus, they gave her, and she reacted. She has a wound, and she reacted so much with a rash all over her body because anti-tetanus vaccine. So people, the way we react are different. And all of these things are the things that we have to document so that for future use, when they are providing or preparing another vaccine, they have to look into those particular patients that need special care and produce something that will support that particular group of people. But at the moment now, the vaccine is just generally being developed and roll out and roll out and roll out. And gradually it will roll out to support people with different conditions as well. At the moment, the one for Pfizer, we only go with what the rules and the clinical trials, the paper that comes with it. And that is what we are going with at the moment.
Sure, very true, ma'am. Just like 2 days ago, I was speaking with a doctor that is based in the UK, and he was telling me that he got the first jab. So I asked him what was the side effects that he saw, and he was telling me that he was fine, except for the pain that usually comes with him getting vaccines, just like your immunization, like you immunize your baby. So he was saying he just had the pain and a little bit of swelling. So I think different people react to the vaccines, just like we rightly said. And as pharmacists, we must always be on guard, always ask questions, always ask our patients questions. For now in Nigeria, I don't know the possibility of having so many hospitals get these vaccines, but we just have to keep learning and equipping ourselves so that when the opportunity comes, we can rise up to the challenge. So, ma'am, just for the benefit of those that logged in very late into the meeting, would like to just briefly go through the side effects, interaction, and the current price of the Pfizer vaccine, ma'am.
Okay. I would say with side effects, people develop side effects, which is different. From people, from various people, various patients to the other. I have some listed one here. It might be different from individual to individual. Some people just have some soreness at the site of injection site, as you have rightly said. Some develop a mild temperature. Even when children have BCG, they have mild temperature. Some have headaches. And they said it goes out within 24 hours. So it's different from one person to the other. So those are the side effects that I've listed here that people have recorded cases that people have had at the moment. Another question you had with that one, what's the next one?
The interactions with other medications and the current price of the Pfizer.
Okay.
Other medications.
Yeah, interaction with other medications. Now, because this is new, it's not in BNF now, we can find it in BNF and it's just been collated. So with people with comorbidities, and we've been given, started with the elderly patient in UK at the moment, and we know that our elderly patient normally take more than two or three medications. So what has been done is it's been screened against the medication they have been taking. And that's what we do naturally as a pharmacist, isn't it? We want to look at people that are taking the medication you are taking, and we make sure they don't interact. So before the shot is being given, the same thing is just being done within the personnel. So patient has been called, before they call you, they have already gone into your clinical history, medication history, even including herbal medication and OTC drugs, paracetamol. So to see that what you are taking does not have any active ingredient that has interaction with this. Okay. So, those are the things that we look into. But when we look basically into most vaccinations, the way it's being vaccines, the way it's being done and the way it does and the way it works, the interaction is not a bit minimal. Most of the things that you see with vaccinations are anaphylaxis reactions, serious adverse side effects. Those are the things that comes to vaccination because of the shot that comes in and the immunity that comes out of it. So those are the things that we should be looking into.
Okay. The price.
I'm a student like yourself, and we're still learning. But we have to continue to look into data every day. The WHO website is a very good site to look into. And updates of is, very mostly current on WHO, they really are, yes. And if we go into Pfizer as well and AstraZeneca, they are updating the informations every day on there. You can see what is happening and you can understand, scientifically, when they write everything in there, you can, as a scientist, you can understand what you're talking about. This and that, and for every data, for every yellow book recording, side effects, it's telling the manufacturers to do something. Just like when we collect feedbacks. So it's telling them with this medication, people have developed that, what should we do? And they run another data and just look for how do we solve this problem. And that's how technology develop, that's how development develop, and that's what leads to development of new medications. If you look into the story of HIV, you can see how many people have died, HIV, and I mean, from HIV before there's development of medications, antiretrovirals, and now people once they're on their medication, they don't die anymore. And the development is still ongoing, and that's the way it is. So the reason why scientists are there is to find solution when there's things like this. And that is what all this, our drug companies, the organization and the government and everybody has to rush at the goal, because the rates of death is high. Everybody put everything together, resources are in together, the companies are coming together and they're trying to get things done. And whenever they've done it, I've shown you the first clip from WHO, it goes through a lot of scrutinization, from testing, from testing, from a lot of evidence-based, from clinical trials, from animals to human beings, and all those reports has been monitored. So the process is a robust process that has been taking place. But it's just left for us to look through it, and if there's anything that we don't agree with, we can talk about it, we can write about it, and we can speak to scientists, or even write to Pfizer or AstraZeneca, fine. But we have to see the evidence base there that is informing us on the benefit to the patient and our community.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm so grateful. Would like to appreciate Pharmacist Sharifat Mohammed Kamal for today's presentation. It was very concise, very educative, and I'm sure we've all learned one or two things today. We'd like to let everyone know that we'll be sending the slides to the emails. So if you haven't sent in your email to the WhatsApp number, it's 08033763534. So on behalf of the Drug Information Unit, ably headed by pharmacist Dr. Ike Bello, would like to say a very big thank you to everyone for attending. Would like the PSN Kwara State Chairman, Pharmacist Adejuwon Telaja, to give us the closing prayer. Pharmacist Otelaja. Pharmacist Otelaja, are you there? Okay. Because of our time, Pharmacist Modupe Olariwaju, please, ma, give us the closing prayer.
In Jesus' name, Father, we thank you. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for our speaker. And we thank you for all we've learned. We pray, oh Lord, that all this information that we have been taught, we will apply them even as we work on making our world a safer place to live. This we ask in Jesus' name we prayed.
Amen. So much, ma'am. Thank you everyone for attending. The meeting has come to an end and we'll be signing off shortly. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Pharmacist Sharifat. Our greetings to your family and colleagues in UK. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for inviting me. I hope it's quite beneficial, and people are able to do one or two things from there.
Yeah. It was very beneficial.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
We appreciate it. The only challenge is that your presentation was not so clear. The internet was not too good when you were presenting. So if it is possible to record the presentation and send to Dr. IK for forwarding to participants to be appreciated.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma.
No, it is clear from our side. It is clear.
It was clear. Maybe it was your network, ma.
There were a lot of messages that we're not hearing her.
No problem. It is clear and it is recorded. So it will be shared.
Okay, ma.
It is clear. It is clear. It is recorded. It is on YouTube live. So how we send the recording to us, you can go and even access it on YouTube. It is there now, clear and loud.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes,
and all the best.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, well, it's bad now forever.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Sorry, Dr. Sharifa.
Yes.
The other issue raised was not addressed. The safety of the polyethylene glycol. The safety was not addressed.
Yes, polyethylene. I mean, that is one of the consequences of the vaccine itself. But at the moment, because it's being rolled out, we can't say because we can't take it out until when we have people that cannot tolerate it. I don't work for Pfizer and I'm not part of the plan. But as clinicians, when we were talking about that particular area, until when people say I have reaction to polyethylene, we can say this is what we do. So until when we are able to collect enough data, then we send the data back to Pfizer or AstraZeneca, then they can tell us what to do. But once we're able to identify patients that they say, no, I have allergy reacting to this particular ingredient, then they won't take it. We let Pfizer and AstraZeneca know that this particular cannot have this, so that when they can, is it possible to make one that we can take that out and put something that will support those particular people. And I think that's the work of the pharmacists, isn't it? We're trying to support so many people and at the same time looking into a way of fitting in person and that person without, injuring one or the other. So I know people that can't take just ibuprofen, but we have to bring cocodamol or some other painkillers for them. And that is our work as pharmacists. So we have to look into different opinions, different people, different comorbidities, then at the same time look into how to solve individual problems, managing pain in different people with different painkillers because they cannot, some people cannot even tolerate codeine, cocodamol. So we have to give them something else. That is our work. So when the manufacturers bring everything here, so our own job as pharmacists to look into the papers and say, okay, this is, yes, fine, you've done your work, the trials, the everything, you have used out this particular amount of people, you have used this particular amount of ingredients, you have this in there. But we have about a couple of 10 people that cannot take this. What can we do for them? But we can't say that until we have a documentation in place that, okay, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patients said they can't have this or they have a reaction. So, I think that is the way the pharmacy management and pharmacy things normally work. We're still gathering data, we're still developing it. So hopefully, we'll be able to get there in the end of the day, by the end of the day. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay. Then if it's possible to look into the issue of storage for the effective vaccine.
Yeah, I talked about storage. Yeah, because the Pfizer one is minus 70 degrees. And I think the
temperate regions, those that have effectiveness of 95%, can look into it to be good.
Yes, I think because the way maybe when we go back of the way the vaccine itself is being rolled out. Normally they attack the need for the people that the highest concentration. So we can't really at the moment it's killing people more around the temperature, US, UK. So so it's been the trials cover that area. So that is why that's why at the moment we can't really say this is what is happening until we are able to take it get the vaccine, and you now say, oh, okay, we can store it. Then Pfizer and AstraZeneca and everybody will now go back and say, okay, let's just see how we can develop one that can be stored at that particular high temperature. That is the way pharmacy work, isn't it? So that is it. So if anyone now come here and pick the one that is here minus 70 degrees and bring it to Nigeria, by the time they give it out, it is denatured. No, we can't. That is why I'm giving this talk today, that before we decide in Nigeria or the pharmacy department or ITA decide to buy, look into what we're saying, the temperature, the efficacy, the people that need it. All those things has to be looked into before we say yes and no. So, I mean, that is just my take. Thank you very much anyway.
Hello. Hi, I have a question.
Have a lovely day.
I have a quick question, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you think it's possible for the vaccine to be administered in pharmacies like the way we have like other vaccines? Do you think eventually we would it would be possible to administer the vaccines in pharmacies, like in community pharmacies, considering the storage conditions and all that?
Yeah, we administer flu vaccination in community pharmacy in UK. I mean, it's not about where it's
considering the storage requirements.
It's about the training. And
yes, that as well.
Because of the time limit, I have a document about the workforce needed for vaccination. The workforce needed for vaccination, we have to train people on how to give vaccine. So we have to train